Do you wonder which country's flag you're seeing in this clip? Watch further and I'll tell you. Alright, so for the past 2 or 3 years, I've worked with a project in hand called the Talruna project. And the flags you just saw are from a nation called Cascadia. Now you may ask me, what is Talruna? I'll explain it like this. Talruna is a multi-nation roleplay project that I've had since 2021 in April. Now, it started as a small project, making from a Roblox game that I wanted to make. Then I made more and more projects, and it developed into more political detail, more countries, in more detailed countries, and here I am with a full world map. In canon, there are supposed to be 212 countries. I didn't count all of them, by the way. But I'm going to say to you here that you can apply for a country in my Discord server that I will link down in the bio. Something else I would want to talk about is the multitude of nations you can pick, the multitude of ethnicities, and much, much more. The next continent I would like to discuss about is Leitan, a continent in the northern hemisphere of Talruna, located with the Amzi Ocean to the west and the Kalmisav Ocean to the east. This continent has around an estimated 2.7 billion people, housing where some countries house populations of up to 50 million, such as Kalmisav, because of the fact it was the largest country in the world, and some countries being very, very small. The population is spread out, not very evenly. Some of the populations could be very, very dense, where it could be 120 people per square kilometer, while some areas just have 50 people per square kilometer. The various ethnicities that are in this continent can be divided into four. You have the Northern Leidanese, Southern Leidanese, Southeastern, and Eastern. You also have the Oriental Leidanese, which will be covered in the next chapter. The second continent I would like to cover today is Oriental Leidan, a group of 5 countries sitting just outside the coast of Caroland. Now, what are these countries? Scandia, Simvlia, Nordia, the Inlandish Republic, and Cordonia. These 5 countries make up the Oriental Leidan. They're squished between Eldoria to the west and mainland Leidan to the east. To the south is Stelenia, another continent I will also cover later in this video. But let's focus on Oriental Leidan. For example, did you know that Leidan only had the only occupied territory within Leidanese soil was the Inlandish Republic. That was a disputed territory between the locals and the Cascadians until 1952, when the inlands had officially gained their independence. Alright, I've yapped enough about Leidan, now let's get to the other continents, starting with Samaris, a smaller continent in the southern hemisphere of Talruna. I've not really done many of the countries. This is actually the continent with the most claimable countries. For this one, I have a planned map of which colonial maps, which colonial territory was here. For in the 1800s, 5 countries had colonies here. But I'll get into that detail a little bit. I'll get into that detail for another video because that's way too long to explain. But I have not told you yet. Oh yeah, I did tell you that you could claim countries. Never mind, never mind. But you have another continent I want to cover, and that is the Eldorias. The Eldorias, which is just north, central, and south, are the largest continents, or the second to third largest continents in Talruna as I speak. For the record, they consist of around 13 countries. Sorry for the silence, I had to count them, by the way. Then you have Arconia, the largest continent in Talruna, with about, which I think about dividing, but because the countries to scale are huge. You have huge amounts of land, lots of resources. I'd recommend it. I'd recommend you to claim a nation here just for the sake of doing it. Now, for cultures, what do I say about cultures? Well, I allow all types of cultures to cultivate into tolerance, as well as ideologies. You can present an ideology as part of a country that previously existed. However, I will not tolerate, however, when I open for nation claims, there will be a zero tolerance policy for promoting an ideology or controversial ideologies such as fascism, confederalism, and or similar ideologies of extremist nature can only be presented as regimes that have existed and regimes that have limited amounts of power, and I mean very limited amounts of power. For this reason, you must be very careful with what ideologies you pick for a country, especially within the areas of dictatorships. But with all that aside, I hope to see that my project will flourish as a nation building project and that I finally get the community that I have long yearned to have. Thank you for having me here.